Hey, I'm heading out now. I'll see you tonight. I should be home on time. Isaias called to her as he stopped in the entrance of the sun porch. She was working on the painting for her grandmother, and it was coming along nicely. She'd done multiple rough drafts and sketches. She looked over her shoulder and catcalled him. "Wow, you are looking good enough to feast upon, Mr. Machado." He laughed at her words. It had been just over a month of her staying at his home, and she admitted it had been the best month of her life. After getting restraining orders against her sister, Merlin, Trent and Tori, the month had been blissfully quiet and productive. She was currently working on multiple projects, with her grandmother's painting being the most prominent. Isaias was working long hours of his own since he took over the McGrath company, facing legal battles as Trent's family fought to regain their company. In the end they lost everything, and while Isaias had been good enough to offer to let them purchase the McGrath family estate from the company he'd taken over, rumor was it, Trent was on the cusp of personal bankruptcy and was likely to decline. Isaias had mentioned the night before he could see the light at the end of the tunnel, but she knew he was exhausted. Almost every day was a 15-hour day since he'd taken the company. She walked over to him, lifting her lips for his kiss. "Have a good day. He could surprise for you tonight if you're not late." "You do?" "Aha." She made wide eyes at him. "Well then I will do my best to be on time." "You should." She giggled as he yanked her closer to him and kissed her lingeringly. "I love you, beautiful." She would never tire of hearing him say those words to her. "I love you too." She smiled against his mouth. "Now get out of here so you can come home to me." He kissed her one more time and then he left, reminding her Matilda, the housekeeper, was due in for 9 and to not touch the kitchen unless she wanted to feel the woman's wrath. She giggled and returned to her painting. She was in the zone, working away, when footsteps behind her startled her. She jumped when Matilda startled her with a cup of coffee and pastries. "Oh, dear heavens, you must have heard my stomach growling in the kitchen." Matilda laughed. "No, but I also know when I was here last week, and you were working at home, you didn't come out even once to eat. It is not healthy to lose yourself in your work like this. You must eat." "Thanks, Matilda. I appreciate it. Take a break from work and have a snack and your coffee. I will make lunch for 1 o'clock. Matilda disappeared out of the room, and Liesel smiled to herself and admitted she had indeed gotten lost in her art. She grabbed her cell phone from where she'd abandoned it and noted it was now 11 and Isaias had left at 7. She'd been working for 4 hours straight out without even checking her phone. She noted a missed call from Elsie and immediately dialed out. "Hey Elsie, what's up? Where have you been? I've been trying to reach you all morning." "I got caught up in Grand's painting." "Ick," Elsie blurted. "I can't help but think of her saying how my grandfather liked her secret garden to be a full bush. I think I'm going to add it in along with a cigarette." "You do realize she wants to hang this over the Thanksgiving table?" "Yep, I don't care. She's beautiful and I want her to look at this and be proud of herself. I'm giving it my all." "You're weird." "I'm an artist." "True. What are you calling me for?" "I had a reminder set on my calendar. Your restraining order expired yesterday. We can reapply for it today." "Already?" "Yup, time flies when you're living in peace and tranquility." "What do you think I should do?" "Well, I think since they obeyed the restraining order to the letter, with the one exception of when Sandy tried to come to the gallery and we called the cops and had her arrested, we could give them the benefit of the doubt. Hopefully, since they've had zero contact with you, the need to talk to you now is diminished, the novelty is worn off, and they have bigger issues to worry about, with Trent's bankruptcy problems, Sandy's pregnancy progressing, or how Tori has been shunned from society ever since Apollonia dumped wine on her." She rolled her eyes. "You think they're over it?" "Not in the least," Elsie scoffed. "My advice, the judge gave a 30-day order to comply with, but if you don't reapply, it looks like you're willing to be the bigger person and let bygones be bygones. If they start up with their antics again and have to go back to ask for it a second time after you've proven they can't be trusted to be civil and amicable, then the judge is likely to grant a longer injunction and we can apply for 6 months or even a year." "Do you know what sucks, Elsie?" she whispered. "I have to risk my mental health and my safety to simply figure out whether they can be trusted. Trent put recording devices in my home. We proved it because he had the emails in his inbox when Isaias took over the company. Sandy hit me at my workplace. Merlin entered my home and crawled into my bed naked, groped me and kissed me. They are the ones who tried to destroy my sanity. Yet I'm the one who has to play roulette with my safety. Look, I have no problem going straight back and asking for a 30-day extension, especially since your sister violated it in week 1. I simply think, if they start their shit again, we have a better chance of getting a longer restraining order. My hope though Liesl is the distance. And the space has given them all a chance to reevaluate what's been happening and to realize you mean what you say. I would much rather they all left you alone without the need to use legal force. You really want to have to keep doing this every few months? Not particularly, but I'm dreading the moment they realize it's expired. Maybe Trent and Merlin might back off, but Sandy, probably not. I haven't heard from Mom since the day I threw her out, but I guess she keeps asking Fred about me because Sandy is driving her nuts. For 26 years, your mom has used you, Liesl, as a way to keep your sister calmed. Let's be honest, she made you hold her hand through everything. God, you had to be her maid of honor at her wedding, and she constantly ran you ragged. She screamed and belittled you the entire time, but if she was after you, she was leaving your mom alone. Isaias called it, and I agree with him. I do too. I love my mom, but her behavior is bullshit. She sighed. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt, but you're on standby, Elsie, because the minute one of them starts up, I want it to stop. Understood. Elsie promised. Now, I need to know what Janka was talking about when I talked to her earlier about you saying you were going to paint your man. I am, but not on canvas. Well, on canvas, but... She giggled. Remember the night of the show, and my professor was there? Yes. She suggested I paint Isaias and use him as the canvas. Yesterday my delivery arrived at the gallery, and I brought it home. I'm going to set it up this afternoon. I'm going to lay the tarp down, and then all these edible body paints are going to be covering him. Do you think he'll let you? He owes me after eating coconut cream pie off me. Elsie giggled, I don't even want to know. You don't, but I never want to forget anyway. I have the tarp and the brushes and the paints. I'm going to mix my two biggest loves into one thing. If we get freaky on the tarp covered in paint, I might hang it. Oh, dear God, Elsie was laughing in earnest now. You're crazy. Yup. She giggled, and he loves me this way. Have fun tonight, Liesl. I can't wait to hear all about it. Wine night Friday night. Isaias is going out of town for the weekend for work. I'm into. I know Janka is too. As they said their goodbyes, Liesl was reminded she had the best friends in the world. Isaias came into the house aware he was late. It was after 9, and he had said he'd be home by 6. He'd sent Liesl a message at 7 to apologize and say he'd be there as soon as he could, but she hadn't responded. He noted the housekeeper Matilda was still there, and he frowned. Matilda, you're here late. Liesl asked me to be her muse. She got wrapped up in her work again, and when I interrupted her for lunch, she was very excitable. She was clearly flustered. She said she was inspired by her grandmother's painting and now wants to do an entire collection of the beauty of women. She told me you would be home late and wouldn't see. Isaias made wide eyes. She had you posing for her? Yes, the woman giggled like a preteen in a way Isaias found endearing. She had me relaxed and... I'm very nervous about it, but I'm excited too. Well, I'm sure whatever it is Liesl has roped you into, it's going to turn out beautiful. I'll get going now, but if you're hungry, I left you a dinner plate in the fridge. Where is Liesl now? She was cleaning up in the sunroom. Okay. Have a good night. He held the door for her, trying not to chuckle as she nervously exited. He dropped his attache-bag on the kitchen counter and opened the fridge, grabbed a beer and using his fingers grabbed a stack of the roast beef the housekeeper had on a plate and then made his way to find his girlfriend. He took a swig of the beer after swallowing the mouthful of meat and walked into the room to find Liesl drying her hands with a towel. Hi. She didn't meet his eyes. I'm sorry I'm late. You don't have to apologize to me, Isaias. You are working. I get it. I know what it's like to be working on something you can't walk away from. She waved behind her. No biggie. Are you sure? Of course. She gave him a tight smile. Then why aren't you looking at me? She blinked and met his gaze. I did look at you. I'm just looking around the room to see if I missed anything. I got carried away moving and adjusting things with Matilda. Did you know she has 6 grandchildren? She brought me lunch and was looking at my grand's painting and said how brave she was for posing, and I ended up talking her into posing for me. I think I'm going to ask Janka's mom to pose as well. You think your mom would? He blinked in confusion as her words came at him in rapid succession. You could ask her. I'm going to. She grabbed a tarp and folded it up. Anyway, I'm going to go take a shower and get ready for bed. I'm covered in paint. She faltered in her footsteps at her words and then started to walk past him. Hey! He reached out his hand and grabbed her shoulder and drew her to him. No kiss? I'm sorry, I'm in my head. So much going on. She lifted her face dutifully to him and pressed her lips to his in a quick kiss before turning away from him and heading in the direction of the stairs. He stood there dumbfounded. It was apparent she was upset, but he didn't know if it was at him or something else that they'd been communicating so well since the gala. It felt weird to see her walk away without telling him about her day. He walked over to the canvas of the painting she was working on and studied them. She had a few on the go, and he took a long drink as he stared at the incredible talent she possessed. He was infinitely proud of how she threw herself into her work as she did. He noted a box near the door of the room and recalled her carrying it in yesterday after her shift at the gallery. He presumed it was supplies for her work at home. She had been giddy with excitement over the box, so he considered it had to be new. He leaned over, moving a large heavy tarp, and lifted a can of the paint, and he studied the label. He frowned, reading the label. Edible? What the hell do you need edible paint for? He grimaced as he set the jar down and lifted a couple more. They were all edible paints of an assortment of colors. She had to have 20 different colors. He noted multiple brushes, and then a sinking feeling struck him in the chest. Her surprise that she'd asked him to come home on time tonight because she had a surprise for him. Fuck. He whispered as he lowered the canisters back into the box and gave a sigh. She'd bought this to experiment with him, and he'd screwed it up by coming home 3 hours late. And no wonder she was pissed off with him. He took his bottle back to the kitchen and rinsed it, setting it in the recycling bin. Knowing he was stalling, he walked around, shutting down the lights and ensuring the house was locked up securely. He took the stairs slowly, feeling very much like he did as a kid when he knew he'd angered his mother and was facing the music. He entered their bedroom and stood there listening for any noises which would tell him she was angry. The shower was running, but there was no huffing, puffing, or sighing. The splashing of water as she scrubbed herself echoed around him as he entered the bathroom, but there was no evidence of her emotions. He leaned against the doorframe and found himself at a loss of how to approach the situation. He couldn't help but let his gaze travel over her body as she stood with her back to him, the transparent glass giving him a full view from head to toe. Her body was incredible, and every time he saw her like this, natural and relaxed, comfortable with her nudity, he was turned on. The desire to join her in the shower was nearly overwhelming, but he quashed it. He needed first to make amends. She turned, giving him a full frontal exposure of her body as she turned the water off and reached for a towel. She gave him a cheeky grin, voyeur. He noted the smile didn't reach her eyes. I fucked up, didn't I? He saw the way her hand paused for a moment as she wrapped the towel around her torso. No, Isaias, you didn't fuck up. You said you had a surprise for me and asked me to come home on time, and I forgot. I came in late. Isaias, she sighed, moving to the vanity to put toothpaste on her toothbrush. You had to work. I know where you were, and I know what you were doing. I told you I understand what it's like to get caught up in work. I'm not angry. Disappointed then? She gave a one-shouldered shrug. Not really. I saw the box of paints. She met his eyes in the mirror. Good, then you know one night soon, you're getting dirty with me. But you wanted to play tonight. Yes, but I'm a big girl and I can handle having to alter my plans. Instead, I roped Matilda into posing for me. It's not a big deal. Then why does it feel a big deal? You're clearly upset with me. Isaias, not everything is about you, she said sharply, slapping her hand against the vanity. She groaned. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. What did I do wrong? You didn't. Look, Isaias, I promise you I'm not upset with you. If I were, you would know, because I would tell you I was pissed off. I'm not. Then can you tell me what is wrong? He walked up to her and put his hands to her shoulders and turned her to face him. Talk to me, Liesel. What is wrong? She shrugged. I don't even know. I'm cranky and moody, and then Elsie called me and told me the restraining order is expired now. I've been on edge all day waiting for shit to hit the fan again. Don't get me wrong, I'm thrilled. I haven't heard a word out of them, but I feel like I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. He felt his heart drop to his stomach at her words. He'd forgotten that he'd let her down today by not being here for her, and then he'd made it worse by forgetting she had made plans for them. He pulled her against his chest and hugged her tight. He had a lot of making up to do. Liesel felt Isaiah's arms wrapped around her tightly, and she leaned into his chest. Today had been a hard one, yet as she stood in the middle of the bathroom, the steam of her scalding shower hanging like mist around them, Isaiah hugging her as if she were the most important person in the world, she felt her stress melting away. "How can I make tonight up to you?" His words were soft in her hair. "I feel I screwed up on such a massive scale. I hate I disappointed you." "I wasn't disappointed, Isaiah. Not even a little?" "Well," she sniffed, "maybe a little. I was very much looking forward to painting you. I've been wanting to do so for a while, but we have lots of time to do such things." "Is it too late now?" "It's nearly 10 at night, Isaiah. What I intend to do with you is going to take hours." She tried to give him a cheeky grin. "I see," he chuckled as he swung her up into his arms and carried her into the direction of the bed. "I think we've both been burning the candles at both ends. When this craziness of the acquisition and the McGraths are out of our hair, you and I should do a holiday." "Really, where were you thinking?" She rested up on her elbows as she watched him undressed. It truly was one of her favorite parts of the day. He tossed his phone and watch onto the nightstand carelessly. "Wherever you want to go, I'm game." He paused. "Somewhere warm would be nice. October is halfway done, and November will be soon upon us. We can take a pre-Christmas break." He cast her a sideways glance. "What does your family do at the holidays? Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's?" "Thanksgiving is usually a giant get-together at my Gran's. Fred told me my mom is pushing hard for Sandy and Merlin to be invited, but Gran and Dad's sisters are refusing." He frowned. "When did he tell you this?" "Today," she shrugged. She studied her nails. "I feel guilty." Why?" His incredulous expression was amplified by his derisive snort. "The bitch had it coming. She cheated on her husband with your husband and got caught and got pregnant and then tortured you for months after." "I know, but..." She swung her feet nervously and then tucked them under the blanket. "It's my Gran, and this is going to be a great grandchild for her. I know they're all angry at Sandy, and I agree she's not all there, but does this kid deserve to miss out on the love of my aunties and Gran because of what Sandy did?" "Hey," he reached out a long finger and tilted her chin. "Is this what's been eating at you today? You said you were in your head. Is it because of this?" She nodded sadly. "I hate Merlin, I hate Sandy. I don't know if I can ever forgive them, but she's 6 months pregnant. She'll have a new baby in the new year. While I don't need to have anything to do with any of them, including this child, I don't want to alienate him from his family." "What would you do? Would you go to Thanksgiving and sit through a dinner with Merlin and Sandy and pass the mashed potatoes like it's not a big deal?" He crawled naked into the bed with her and tugged her close, brushing her hair off her cheeks. She gave a hapless shrug. "I've moved on. I'm happy, and there isn't anything they can do now to hurt me. I mean, it's not like they can bug my new apartment since I've stopped looking for one." He tickled her ribs excitedly at her admission. "And I'm living my best life. I don't hear from them at all. If I have to sit through the odd dinner and be civil, for the sake of my grandmother and aunties, I would do it." "Did Fred ask you to?" "No, he's pissed at Mom for even going there. He said Sandy can go to Merlin's family for Thanksgiving, but then Mom said something about them having to downsize into a condo, and she asked if they could go to Gran's as well." "Fuck no!" He shook his head vehemently at her. "You are not going anywhere near Trent McGrath. Nowhere. I'll personally tie you to this bed and lock the house down." "Isaiah," she frowned at him. "No, I told you what we uncovered when we went through his computer. He had an entire file on you where he'd taken photos of you with his phone, some of them when you were sleeping in your home when you were married to Merlin. There were multiple photos of you in bikinis from when you went on vacation. It said it was the most used file on his desktop, the most used. Oh, you know what he used it for?" He made a crude gesture with his hand, still pissed off at what he'd found. "I admit it was disconcerting to find out he had a file of photos of me." "Disconcerting? It's disgusting and nasty. He was supposed to be a father figure to you, Liesel, and he lusted after you and had wet dreams." She giggled at him. "Down boy. I hate him. He's always been a shady prick, but damn, he went too far, Liesel." "I know." She stroked his cheek. "I don't want to be around them either, but I feel I'm robbing a child of the most incredible family. I don't want you feeling guilty for setting strong boundaries against the people who set out to destroy you, babe." He said quietly. "I know it hurts. I know it feels bad to your beautiful soul to know Sandy's kid is going to grow up with them as parents, but it's not up to you to fix their shit." "I feel bad." But it's not your fault the child is missing out. It's not it's theirs, Liesel, even if they had cheated and had a baby, but then acted like normal apologetic human beings after, you might eventually be able to get past the fact they cheated, and he is having a family without you. They didn't though, they put you through hell to the point you had to take a restraining order against your own sister who harassed you to the point of assault. Merlin broke into your home and climbed into your bed naked. They have tortured and tormented you. Sandy sent you message after message of how she and your husband were in love. Babe, I don't want you to hold bitterness in your heart, but I don't want you to have a misplaced sense of guilt, because a collective group of people have realized how horrible two human beings are and have washed their hands of them. It's not on you. It's on them. I guess so, she whispered. I know so. He kissed her nose. He curled his arm under her shoulder and pulled her tight to his chest. I still feel bad for the kid. Grant is the best. I love you, babe. He rested his cheek to her hair. If you feel strongly you want to try a dinner there with Merlin and Sandy, without Trent, then I will come and hold your hand, but you don't owe it to them. She nuzzled her chin against his chest, sighing. Thank you for being my champion, essayist. I do appreciate how honest you are with me, and how supportive you are. Always. He lifted her chin to kiss her lips. Now, I believe I have some making up to do for missing our painting session. She wriggled under him as he rolled her onto her back and began a path of kisses down her chest heading straight between her thighs. All things considered, Liesel was convinced, even if she hadn't been truly angry at him, he made up to her just perfectly.